Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to my channel guys. I hope that all of you guys are doing good. It's time to finish off this fragrance week for me, which I called Maison Alhambra week because I've been doing Maison Alhambra fragrance reviews throughout the whole week, and today's video won't be different. I'm going to finish this week off with the last Maison Alhambra fragrance that I have not yet reviewed on my channel, at least for the moment, and the fragrance is called Tabac. This is a clone of one of Dior's Privé fragrances called Tobacolor. So in this video I'm going to tell you how this smells, how close it is to the original, how it performs, how much I paid for it, and then at the end of the video I'm going to tell you my honest opinion on whether Tabac from Maison Alhambra is actually worth checking out. The bag from Maison Alhambra comes nicely packaged. You get the fragrance in this white colored box. On the front you get, it has cylindrical shape, as you can see. On the front you get the name of the fragrance, the concentration EDP, the logo of the company Maison Alhambra. On the top you get again Maison Alhambra logo. On the back a sticker of authenticity, along with some additional information on the bottom, which also has the production date stamped on, and my bottle has a production date of January of 2023. Also the bottle size is 100 milliliters, which is written down here. And then this is how the bottle looks. Again, very simple looking bottle. Got the name of the fragrance and the concentration. Very heavy glass. There's also the Maison Alhambra logo again, and a cap that's plastic, but I think has sort of a metallic coating. Unfortunately, unlike with the original, this is not a magnetic cap, but it's quite a snug fit, so you can pick up the bottle through the cap itself. All in all, the package is nice, and it's very similar looking to the original packaging of Tobacolor from Dior. All in all, if I have to rate the packaging and bottle design, the whole quality, I would give it a rating of 8 out of 10. If you enjoy my content guys, please consider hitting the subscribe button and also hitting the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Alright, now let's talk about the scent of Tabac from Maison Alhambra. Now, the note breakdown that I was able to find about this fragrance online has the following notes. They're not listed in order. It's just a bunch of notes. 3 different types of tobacco, tobacco, white tobacco, and tobacco leaf. You also have amber, you have citruses, you have plum, honey, and smoke. Now, show the sprayer in action. The sprayer is, so-so, doesn't put a lot of juice out. And now let's talk about what I can actually pick up from this fragrance. Now, when I initially spray this fragrance, and I smell it for the first in the first couple of minutes of its life, what I pick up immediately is a very strong honey note, which is the strongest note in the opening of this fragrance. I also pick up a very strong plum note, which plays sort of a second role in the opening of this fragrance, and I pick up a touch of tobacco, not a touch, but tobacco, but it plays more of a support role in the opening of this fragrance. Now, I want to mention something. This fragrance is pretty linear in my opinion. It doesn't change a lot. On the dry down, what you get is pretty much those same 3 major players, the honey, the tobacco, and the plum. But on the dry down, the tobacco starts to take the leading role, in the scent of this fragrance, with the plum and the honey playing a little bit of a supporting role. And I also pick up a touch of sort of an incensey vibe, smoky vibe out of this fragrance. I can't say that I pick up much of an amber note. I don't pick up any citruses in the opening, and that's one way that this differs to the original, but I'll talk about that in a second. Now, onto the question of how close Tabac from Maison Alhambra is actually to the original Tobacolor from Dior. Now, I don't own the original fragrance from Dior. I've tried it a few times, but some time has passed since I've tried it for the last time, so I'll try to compare it from memory. And at least what I remember from the original, comparing it to this one, is the fact that the original had a lot more fruity, citrusy sweetness in the opening. It felt fresher and sweeter in the opening, with that fruity sweetness which Tabac from Maison Alhambra lacks, in my opinion. On the dry down, they become a lot more similar, but still the Tobacolor fragrance from Dior is sweeter, at least from what I remember, compared to Tabac. Tabac has a stronger tobacco note on the dry down compared to the original. So if I have to put a rating on how close Tabac is to the original, I'll give it about an 8 out of 10 rating. If I have to talk about the performance of Tabac from Maison Alhambra, now this is a strong fragrance, a very strong fragrance. A lot of people have said that this is a beast mode fragrance for them, but my experience is slightly different. I get about 9 hours of performance out of this fragrance on my skin, and maybe the opening is a bit misleading because this is very thick, very sweet, very dense type of a scent, and people may end up thinking that when they first spray this, that this will be like a super beast mode fragrance, but on my skin it lasts for about 9 hours. Projection is pretty decent for about 2 hours. So if I have to put a rating on the performance of Tabac from Maison Alhambra, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. If I have to talk about the price of this fragrance now, initially this used to be very cheap, at least in North America, from what I've seen, you know, some other reviews online. And currently I think it's still pretty cheap, but here in Europe it's a bit harder to find, and I had to pay quite a lot to actually get my hands on this fragrance because I was very interested, you know, I was intrigued by this fragrance. So I ended up paying roughly about $50 in order to get this fragrance. So this is one of the more expensive clones in my collection, and based on that I'll give it a rating of 6 out of 10. Talking about the versatility of Tabac from Maison Alhambra, this is not a very versatile fragrance unfortunately, but it's simply down to the scent profile of this fragrance. As I said, this is very thick, very dense, very sweet, with a heavy tobacco note on the dry down, so this is strictly orientated towards cold weather usage. The best time to use this fragrance is winter time, and the temperatures just have to be low outside in order to use this fragrance. Also, this is not safe for office usage, and this is definitely a nighttime scent. Now, the original is a bit more unisex in my opinion because it's sweeter, it has more fruity sweetness, so it's somewhere in between, you know, being a strictly male or female scent. This feels a bit more rugged, so I think it leans a little bit to the masculine side. So all in all, it's not super versatile. And on to my final thoughts about Maison Alhambra's Tabac. Now this is a fragrance that I was very excited to try. I'm a big time lover of tobacco based fragrances, and you know, I've tried the original, I like it a lot, so I was really excited to try Tabac. And to be honest, especially at first, I was quite a bit disappointed by this fragrance, simply because you know, at first the only things that I smelled were honey and plum, with just a touch of tobacco, but with a bit of maceration, you know, with this fragrance, the tobacco note started to become a little bit more prominent, but still I'm not fully satisfied, to be honest, with this fragrance. If you're looking for a clone of Tobacolor, I don't think there are too many options out there, so you can take a look at Tabac from Maison Alhambra, but you need to like sweet and dense fragrances, and you need to like fragrances that are heavy on the tobacco note. My rating for Tabac from Maison Alhambra is a 7 out of 10, and it gets a like from me simply because I like tobacco based fragrances. And so guys, in today's video I showed you a fragrance from the house of Maison Alhambra called Tabac, a clone of Dior's Tobacolor. I hope that you found this video interesting or helpful. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in my next video. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.